Hello, hello, hello. Day 19,082 of being a woman. Yay me. Look at me go. So I'm old enough to know that women have fought for years, y'all, for women's rights, just to be seen as an equal member of society. And what has now happened? Men have come and infiltrated women's spaces because of their ineptness in their own space. And that's it. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you for attending my 25-second TED Talk. That's all I wanted to say. Now we're going to go on to the useless information at hand. Aliens. Are they real? UFO sightings. So, UFO sightings have been reported all over the world, but there have been certain areas where they're more commonly reported. In the United States, for example, some of the states with the highest number of reported sightings include California, Florida, Texas, Washington, Arizona, New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Michigan, and Oregon. And it's worth noting that the number of sightings reported in a given area, it doesn't necessarily mean they have a higher frequency of actual UFO activity, but it just kind of really reflects the number of reports filed by witnesses in that area. So that's how they came up with those states. And many of those sightings, they can be attributed to the natural phenomena, some things like man-made objects that you can't really tell with the naked eye what it is, such as different kind of aircraft, drones, or satellites. UFO does stand for unidentified flying object. So there's that. But according to the data from the National UFO Reporting Center, Washington State has been the most consistent with the highest number of reported UFO sightings per capita in the United States. I would have kind of thought it was like Arizona or New Mexico, but it's not. It's Washington State. But anyway, so alien abductions, are they possible? Let's think about that. But before we get into that, let's get a word from our sponsor before we really dive into these aliens and if they're out there scooping up humans for their experiments.
Are you a book lover searching for your next captivating read? Look no further than Something Borrowed. Enter a world of love and longing, where Mickey Monroe stumbles upon the mysterious creature known as Lucky. From the moment they lock eyes, Mickey knows there's something different about this charming fellow. But alas, fate has other plans for Mickey's blossoming attraction towards Lucky, as he's already taken by her employee, the lovely Laura Moore. As a new player enters the game, the delectable Beth, Mickey finds herself entangled in a web of desire and passion, where Lucky is the prize that everyone wants. Follow the twists and turns of Lucky's enthralling journey in Something Borrowed, a tantalizing romantic tale that will have you on the edge of your seat. Will Lucky choose Laura, the devoted girlfriend? Or perhaps Mickey, the alluring newcomer? Or maybe, just maybe, the fiery Beth will win his heart. Meet Luke Lucky Varino, who's caught between his ex with a vengeance, the loving but clueless Laura, and the alluring newcomer who's shaking things up. Don't miss out on this captivating love story that will leave you breathless. Will Lucky's luck run out, or will he find a way to navigate this tangled web of romance? Find out in Something Borrowed. So grab a glass of wine, cozy up with a blanket, and prepare to be swept away by the irresistible charm of Lucky and his tumultuous love triangle. Something Borrowed will have you on the edge of your seat, as the mystery of Luke Lucky Varino is uncovered. So why wait? Pre-order now at Amazon, Apple Books, Barnes & Noble, Google Play Books, and Kobo. Delivers May 12, 2023. Paperback is available at Amazon now. Find out more at www.michellescarey.com. This ad is sponsored by Sunray Multimedia.
There is currently no scientific evidence to support the existence of alien abductions. Now, while many people claim to have experienced such events, there is no physical evidence to corroborate their accounts. Like, none. Most explanations of these experiences, they can be based on some type of psychological or cultural factors, including sleep paralysis, false memories, and cultural beliefs in extraterrestrial life. Now, while there is a possibility of ET life, and it's an interesting topic for scientific exploration and debate, there isn't any concrete evidence to suggest that aliens have visited Earth or invasion of the body snatchers have abducted humans. So it is important that we remember as we approach this topic the claims of, aliens coming down and swooping you up. We're going to approach it with a little bit of skepticism and critical thinking, and we're going to seek out credible sources of information and evidence based explanations for such experiences. But let's just get into these examples that I found of sightings and alien abductions. I think the most known one is the Travis Walton incident. I remember seeing that movie, Fire in the Sky. So, the Travis Walton abduction is one of the most famous and well known documented cases of alleged alien abduction in history. It took place in 1975 when Travis Walton, he was a forest tree worker or somebody there other, and was a part of a crew that was clearing out trees in the national forest in Arizona. And then one evening, after finishing work, Walton and his, buddies on the crew, his colleagues, they were driving back to their campsite when they saw a bright light in the distance. And so, they was like, oh, what's that bright light? Let's go look at that bright light. Let's go to the light. Okay. So as they got closer, they realized that it was some type of craft that was hovering. And Walton, because this is your typical horror movie, what does he do? Because out of curiosity, he gets out of the truck to take a closer look. Why am I not surprised? But according to Walton, a beam of light all of a sudden, it just suddenly just shot out from the craft and it hit him and it threw him several feet into the air. And then the other crew members panicked and they drove away, leaving him behind. But when they returned to the site, they found no sign of Travis Walton. He was gone. And he was eventually reported missing. And then there was a massive search and rescue operation. It was launched. But then 5 days later, guess what? Travis Walton pops back up. He reappears. And he had claimed that he had been abducted by the craft. Okay. So in his situation, claiming that he had been taken aboard the craft and subjected to medical experience by these strange beings, he described the aliens as small, with large heads and eyes, and said that they communicated with him telepathically. But skeptics have, of course, dismissed the story as a hoax, while believers point out to the consistency of Walton's account and the lack of any clear motive for him or his colleagues to invent such a story. But then in 1978, Walton wrote a book about his purported abduction, and he titled it The Walton Experience, which was later adapted into the 1993 film Fire in the Sky. If you haven't seen it, check it out. It is an older movie. But to this day, Travis Walton, his abduction, it just remains one of the most controversial and debated cases of alleged alien abduction. And I can see why. Because there were other people that were involved who saw the light, who saw what he saw, and saw what happened to him when he got out of the vehicle. The only thing they did not see, because they left, was what happened to him. But if you want to get some more information, Travis Walton appeared on episode 1597 of the Joe Rogan Experience. You could check that out. That was on January 19th, 2021. The second example we have here is the Phoenix Lights incident. And it was highly publicized as this UFO sighting that occurred on March 13th, 1997 over the state of Arizona. My daughter was born in 1997, May of 1997. So I don't remember this, actually. It happened a few months before she was born, but I don't really remember this. But it was said that thousands of people witnessed a formation of lights moving slowly across the sky, and many reported seeing a large V-shaped craft with 5 lights on the underside. So the first reports of the lights went from the town of Paulden, Arizona, and soon other reports started floating in across the state about seeing these lights, including Phoenix, Scottsdale, and Glendale. And the lights were described as being silent but moving in a slow and deliberate manner. Now, you know that if it was something like a military kind of movement, you would have thought they would have came out and said that we were doing some kind of military exercise, right? But the incident received widespread media coverage, except for me because I don't remember. And many theories were put forward to explain the lights. Some suggested that the lights were flares dropped by military aircraft, while others believed they were part of a secret military operation. But the United States Air Force initially claimed that the lights were caused by military flares. Of course, they did. But this explanation was widely criticized, I can believe that, and rejected by the many witnesses that saw the lights. But in 2007, then Arizona Governor Fife Symington publicly acknowledged that he had seen the lights and believed that they were ET in nature, that something wasn't right. Like I said, I'm pretty sure that if it was some type of military exercise, the military just would have came out and said, this is a military exercise. But the Phoenix Light incident remains one of the most famous and well documented UFO sightings in history, and it continues to fascinate and intrigue people all over the world for those who are into UFO sightings and tracking down UFOs. And then my last example is the Kelly Hopkinsville encounter, also known as the Hopkinsville Goblins case. And it's a famous UFO sighting, an alien encounter that took place on August 21st and 22nd, 1955, in rural Kentucky. The Hopkinsville Goblins case, according to witnesses, two families, the Suttons and the Taylors, they were spending an evening at a farmhouse in Kelly, Kentucky, when they saw strange lights in the sky. And then a few hours later, they claimed to have been visited by small grayish green creatures with large heads and glowing eyes that they described as looking like goblins. This is the first time I've ever heard of this particular case. Maybe I need to do a whole podcast just on this case alone. But the creatures reportedly appeared to be impervious to bullets, and they were said to have repeatedly attacked the house throughout the night. I can only imagine the terror that the humans were going through. And the witnesses claimed to have fired upon the creatures with shotguns and rifles, but the bullets had little effect. Like, them joints was like bouncing off of them. For real. So the encounter lasted for several hours and the creatures eventually disappeared at dawn. Maybe it's light. Maybe it is the sunlight that scared them the most. I don't know. But the case gained national attention and had been the subject of numerous investigations and media reports. And while skeptics have suggested that the incident was a hoax or a case of misidentification, the witnesses maintained that they had experienced a genuine encounter with extraterrestrial beings. And well, it's two families, right? The Suttons and the Taylors. So why would they get together and lie about this? But this particular encounter is just really notable for its detailed and consistent accounts of the encounter from multiple witnesses. That's what I'm saying. Why would they get together and say, we're going to make up this whole incident in 1955? People wasn't doing that kind of stuff back then. I can see people doing it now for the clout and for the attention. But in 1955, people wasn't drawing attention to themselves like that, especially to say that there were ETs running around that looked like grayish green goblins or whatever have you. No, not in Kentucky, not in 1955. But it does remain one of the most known and intriguing cases of alien encounters in the history of UFO sightings. I had never heard of it. This is my first time hearing of it, but maybe that's something to just dig into deeper. I wonder if they ever did a movie about that, because that would be crazy. But there are organizations that cover these kinds of things. There are several organizations that research UFO sightings and alien abduction cases, But here are some additional details about them. First, we have the Mutual UFO Network, and that was founded in 1969. The Mutual UFO Network is one of the oldest and largest organizations that is dedicated to the study of UFO sightings and related phenomena. And it conducts investigations of reporting sightings. It maintains a database of all UFO reports, and it publishes a monthly journal. Then we have the Center of the Study of Extraterrestrial Intelligence, and that was founded in 1990 by Dr. Stephen M. Greer. I'm very well aware of Dr. Greer. I've seen some of his videos, and I think his movie, what was it? Close Encounter of the Fourth Kind. But he has, yes, researched UFO sightings and contact experiences. And this organization also advocates for greater government transparency and disclosure of UFO sightings and related phenomena. Then we also have the National UFO Reporting Center, which was founded in 1974, but that is a nonprofit organization that collects and maintains a database of all the different UFO sightings and reports found from across the world. And that organization offers a hotline for witnesses to report sightings and provides a forum for discussion and analysis of UFO sightings. I'm wondering which of these networks has the Men in Black. Then we have the Disclosure Project, which was also founded by Dr. Stephen Greer in 1993. And the Disclosure Project is a nonprofit organization dedicated to researching and advocating for greater government disclosure of information related to UFO sightings and extraterrestrial life. Dr. Greer is very much into getting the government to disclose, like tell us what is really going on. Then we have the UFO Research Coalition. They are a collaborative effort between several organizations, including all the ones that I've just named. And the way the coalition works is that they share resources, data, and research on UFO sightings and related phenomena. Now, these organizations, they all provide some kind of variety of resources for those interested in UFO sightings and alien abduction cases, including reports, investigations, and analysis of reported sightings. They are all valuable resources for any of you to go and check out who want to learn more about these types of phenomena and connect with others who share an interest in the subject. It's very interesting. So I want to ask you all, my question to you is that, do you believe in ETs, aliens? Would you think that there is life? Wouldn't you think that there was life beyond Earth or beyond this planet? Why would we be the only ones in this entire vast universe? I think it's interesting that billions of people on this one planet, from what we can tell, that we are the lone single entity in this vast amount of space. Come on now. How lonely is that? And we are on this planet doing each other in. That billions of people can be left alone to their devices, and there's nothing else out there in space, in universe. Now, I would say that I'm of the notion that there has got to be something else out there. Something else that wonders if they too are the only ones in the universe. Perhaps they aren't in our galaxy, but somewhere billions of light years away, perhaps, there's another entity out there wondering how can they reach the next life form, just like we're wondering how can we reach another life form. Perhaps maybe they don't breathe air like we do. I don't know, but there's got to be something out there wondering and searching just like we are. I'm just saying, I mean, if you really think about it, can't be just us out there. But anyway, so that is this useless information podcast for this episode. But if you really like what you're hearing from the useless information podcast, please take the time out to hit the follow button so you're kept up to date when I upload another episode. And if you're really liking what you're hearing, do me a big favor. Go ahead and leave a review. A follow and a review. It just lets the podcast gods know that hell yeah, I'm picking up when the show is putting down. There you go. But I just want to say, As always, I am grateful for your listenership, and I thank you for being a part of this useless information crew. Today and always, until next time, be well, stay safe, and give love.
This podcast has been produced by Sunray Multimedia and Michelle Carey. Music by CreatorMix.com. The YouTube audio library and editing by Descript.